All right, Battletech fans, so we are back with another Battletech Roundtable here on Battletalk, and this one is an exciting one, folks, because this is the OrcCon discussion group right here. As you know, and if you haven't known, I don't know what kind of rock you're living under, but check it out on the Patreon, check it out on the Space Lanes. Battlebound is heading out to Southern California, Daddy. We're going down to OrcCon as part of the Strategicon family of events, and I have got a whopper of a group here, and we're going to talk some Battletech, we're going to talk some shop, it's going to be great. So let me start around the table. I've got my boy, Pat Saul. He's the head honcho waiter. He's the headmaster, the main man with the master plan at Battletech International. Say hello.
Yo, everybody.
And I've got Mr. Jim Sandoval. He is the representative of Strategicon. He's the RPG department head and the Duke of the Draconis March. Say hello.
James Sandoval sends greetings from the Draconis March.
All right, we got Mr. Mike James. He's also representing Strategicon, folks. He is their miniature master up in my left-hand corner here. And we've got Mr. Harmon Ward. He is the Historical Miniature Gaming Society Pacific Southwest Secretary and the Strategicon Convention Manager. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Strategicon because I've never been out here. I've never been to Strategicon, OrcCon, any of the other family of events that goes on under this banner. So, with the fellas that have the most knowledge of it, kind of give me a little bit of a background. Tell me how we got started with Strategicon.
Well, it's a storied convention, and actually
those are my favorite kinds.
It's 3 conventions, right? So we have OrcCon, we have GameX, and we have Gateway, held on President's Day, Labor Day, and
Memorial Day
weekends. There used to be 3 different separate conventions. OrcCon was Orange County Con, originally held in Orange County. Through a long process that I really won't dive into, it sort of became conglomerated under one umbrella when the former owner sold it to basically a bunch of concerned fans that wanted to take the convention over simply because they thought they could do it better. That when you filter out all of the nuance and get down to the nitty-gritty of it, what it turned this convention organization into is conventions run by gamers for gamers.
I love that. I love that.
Take a dime. This is all volunteer, really, and we just do it for the love of the games and the love of the community.
OrcCon, which was the first one of the 3, started over, I want to say 42 years ago now, actually as an HMGS convention. 2 of them were HMGS conventions that got rolled into the same ownership group eventually, but they've all been around for over 30 years. So hell, I was there at 12. I played 40K there when I was a 12-year-old, so keep that in mind. See, there you go.
All right.
Really, we focus in on the gaming. And starting on Friday at noon, all the way up to Monday afternoon, it's just straight up gaming. We don't stop. It's 24 hours. It's all the time.
Wow.
Our spaces are open the entire time, and we welcome people to play. We have subdivided into departments like role-playing games, miniatures games. There's also war games, which are the large format sort of historical or board game type things. They have their own department. Collectibles, which is also fun if you like that kind of stuff. Anything from HeroClix to Yu-Gi-Oh and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
We also have video games. We actually have been trying to put all kinds of cool stuff in there for that. It's just, and party games, which sort of catches all things like Werewolf and all that kind of stuff, which is also very popular. So, lots and lots of events, lots and lots of variety, lots and lots of diversity when it comes to games. But if you know of a game, you can probably find somebody to play it with you, or just find somebody else.
Or just start one up.
Yeah, or just, that's what open gaming is for. We have an entire area where you can just walk in with whatever game you got, go. Who wants to play? And
well, better yet, Jim hasn't mentioned either that we have a library too. So if you come across a game you want to try out, you can get it from the library. You can play it, and like I said, we don't close until Friday about 6. Monday about 6ish.
Yeah.
So there's lots of space. There's lots of stuff. At last count, we're in the 400-ish number of events. So that's going to go up as people submit stuff last second. And this is kind of small. So right before everything kind of closed down, we'd had our largest convention under the current ownership group where we had 2,500 unique attendees, just under 1,000 events over the 4 days, spread across everything. And yeah, I mean, because all told, we've got 58,000 square feet of gaming space. If you like to game at all, this is the place for you. If you don't know if you like to game, this is where you find out. And we find out here which ones you like.
Definitely. I mean, I'd like to point out.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh.
Surprise. I actually won one in 2015 even though I was an amateur.
So speaking of games, I'm going to throw this one to Patrick. Patrick,
Yes.
What are we doing when we go to OrcCon? What are we doing? And why is Battlebound rolling in town?
Battlebound is rolling into town because in collaboration with Battletech International and Strategicon, we are going to go pull one of the biggest Alpha Strike games ever made, because it has never been done before. Everybody has done like the biggest classic Battletech games, like even in Strategicon, and not just Gen Con, because Gen Con we always had big ones, but back in the days, actually, we always had big Battletech games as well. We've never really done anything like massive, scenario based. There it is.
Sure.
And this is the first, it occurred to me, like I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. And even Jim here and Mike here has been supportive of, like, you should try running that. I never really had the opportunity to do so, but then I know you've been wanting to come to the con for a long time. And funny part, viewers, you might want to know that Tuck here was originally from California.
That's right. Born in Escondido.
Well, excellent. Escondido. There you go.
That's right.
So, I'm giving him an opportunity to come home and, actually be with a big gaming group. And we had to think real hard in the scenario. And I go, you know what? The Clan Invasion Kickstarter came out, and all of it's like all over the place. Let's go with that. Hence why I decided, let's go use the one from the novel. Let's go with the Jade Phoenix Saga.
One of my personal favorites. But we're doing Tukayyid, right? We're doing the Robin's Crossing battle. We're going to have Aiden Pride out there, and he's going to be taking on the comm guards from Fresno Plain to Robin's Crossing. Isn't that right?
Correct. It's going to be a massive battle, and another fellow gamer that will be joining us there during con time is currently making the terrain, which is very impressive. He's done a lot of good hard work.
I've seen some of this stuff. It's awesome.
So thank you much, Crow, for all the effort. He's been working it for the past like 3 weeks, and he's still going. I'm happy about it. And then to make even things good, I got support from numerous sponsors, which I will name later on. That's why I'm actually stoked up for the event itself. I rarely get to run like big Battletech events at the con because of my duties usually, but for once I can actually break away from it, which is a good thing. And I'm because I can't wait to play and sling dice at you guys.
Because to be really honest with you, I can't wait to ass blast some clanners. So,
I'm gonna be on the clan side. At least we know that. But so, Patrick, we're taking
a target.
Yeah, baby. And we're going up against how much comm guard stuff?
A level 3. A level 3 comprises of 36 units, 2 clan trinaries, which equivalents of 30 units. More than makes up for it. So it's going to be, we're going to have at least over 60 miniatures in the battlefield.
And not only are we doing that, we're doing Battletech Alpha Strike 101. We're going to be teaching newbies. We're going to be doing kind of the Battletech boot camp. We're going to get them in there. We're going to get them ready. And then if we get a few standouts, we get a few Rise Stars, we might say, hey, why don't you come on over and play with us in this game that we're doing the next day. But we're also doing Battletech 101, right?
Oh, definitely. The one thing that I like about Alpha Strike, don't get me wrong, I like both Classic Battletech and Alpha Strike. But whenever I try to get new players into the game, I feel that, introducing to Alpha Strike first is more a simpler way of doing so. And it's been working out a lot lately.
So, but it still really maintains the feel of Battletech is the part that I like the most about it. Because, fairly regular Friday night Alpha Strike gamer, he just brings a bunch of stuff. You guys fight over spaceport, and it teaches the game, gets it out there, that kind of stuff. But you still have that feel. BattleTech was always not just about, yes, it's big ass robots attacking each other.
Sure.
But you also have, you've got the ECM versus ECM, you have indirect fire, you've got all these things that fit into that combined arms warfare that it's hard to do if you've only got 4 or 8 mechs aside in classic Battletech, because that's going to take a long time. But in Alpha Strike, Scout Lance is a viable thing. You want them fast, you want them to go in there and spot for you and all that kind of stuff. And it's much easier to work all those elements that are a big, huge part of the story and tactics of the meta of the game.
That's the other point that I want to make too.
It grabs that feel, and I love it. That's why I enjoy Alpha Strike, honestly, probably more than Classic Battletech, just because it scratches every itch I have with tactical warfare with giant robots.
Well,
Definitely.
It's a major element of a lot of the modern miniatures games, like any of the Games Workshop offerings, or even stuff like Bolt Action and things like that. There's a meta to the game, right?
Sure.
So actually choosing your units and putting them together has an effect on the game, instead of just Battletech sort of like tonnage versus tonnage or whatever you're going to do with the basic. So, when you have special abilities and skills that a Scout Lance might have for forward observing or stuff like that, it allows you to plan ahead, choose your mechs carefully, basically balance their attributes, and actually walk into a battle with an actual tactic or idea of what you're going to do, other than just a slugfest.
Sure.
I think that's an element that Battletech really needed to sort of keep up with a lot of the other games that are very popular.
Yeah, I can agree with that, especially when you take even a smaller battle, like it's just a 6-on-6 or something in Classic. It's going to take you a long time. It's one of the reasons why at my local game shops I can't run anything bigger than 4-on-4, because in the 4 hours we got, that's about as much time as I can need to get that game done.
Yes.
And too much less than that, and I won't be able to finish it. But you guys are right with the bigger games without, and it's much easier to hit because you don't take into effect your movement when you're shooting, so your numbers are lower. I think that's one of the biggest reasons Classic takes so long, is because of all the extra factors in. You're having to roll 8s and 9s, which aren't going to hit, but less than half the time anyway.
Well, also it's just the grind, when you just have something with 250 points of armor or whatever, it's just a grind. It's going to get there. But also there are certain feel things that Alpha Strike gets that are really kind of neat. Like medium mechs are actually very valid.
Oh, sure.
In Alpha Strike compared to regular Battletech, in that they actually represent what they're supposed to be, where they can actually take a moderate amount of damage. They can move and jug and jive. They can harass. They can do the things that you want them to do a little bit more effectively than just sort of go out there and get hit by one Gauss rifle and go away.
Yeah, and you're dead. So something interesting I kind of want to bring in here. I want to get Harmon's perspective on this, because I know you're a historical miniatures wargamer, and that has always fascinated me. That's been something I haven't been able to get into, and I've told people on this channel for ages that my one-armed man is Battletech, and that's pretty much what I got the time for and the mental. But I don't know if you were aware or not, but Peter Cushing of Star Wars fame was actually a real big historical wargamer, Grand Moff Tarkin. He loved that stuff. He was all into Little Wars by H.G. Wells and things like that. So what I wanted to do is get your perspective here. Has being a historical wargamer, and obviously you're a student of tactics and stuff that they used in real life, has that helped you in Battletech at all?
Yes, most definitely. Going way back, in the 70s when I got started in the hobby, I grew up literally across the street from Brooker's Hobbies, which is a big local hobby shop. And I started walking there when I was a child, with my $2 to buy an Airfix model tank.
Sure.
And science fiction miniature gaming at that stage, in that, this was a decade before Star Wars, right? It's kind of hard to put that into perspective. There was almost nothing in the way of science fiction miniature gaming, and almost all miniature gaming was historical. So you fast forward, and Star Wars changed the culture quite a bit, and those of us that were into historical gaming, many of us gravitated to many of the other flavors, fantasy and science fiction. So I'm looking at most Battletech games that are laid out on the table, and I'm thinking of, well, I need to flank that unit. I need this unit to take cover and lay down some suppression fire. And all of the types of things that would work in a historical battle work in Battletech. You don't have to be a military genius to look at the board and say, hey, would it be a good idea if my battle mech was standing behind this building instead of in front of it?
Yeah.
And that's the great part about getting newcomers into the game. And you can just tell them, yes. He says, well, how much protection does that give me? I says, don't worry about it yet. Nobody's trying to shoot at you, right? But yes, cover helps in this game. Walking through rivers takes longer and is sometimes impossible. And then you have to take a bridge, just like a historical army. That's one of the reasons it's so much fun. It's not completely imaginary. It's based on physics.
You can actually do historical battles in Battletech because the story is so long and so detailed that you can go back into the history of the game and play an SLDF versus Taurian Concordat game that's actually historical and the past is laid out. You can just replay those. So the same sort of nostalgic feel that you get for like recreating like a World War II battle,
Sure.
just like we're doing here in Tukayyid, you can actually take a historical battle that's in the canon and go back and play that. And they provide you with all the materials to be able to do that, including unit lists and what actually happened in those battles. It's pretty amazing.
I just want to point out one thing is because Jim and I are both historical wargamers as well and members of the HMGS, that I've frequently seen Battletech events at their events, and they're just listed as history that hasn't happened yet. So
Nice. Of course, they did have that one April Fool's technical readout, didn't they? Technical readout 1945.
1945.
Hey, why not? It's because, as I understand it, Battletech, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, it was based on the actions of the Pacific Theater. Isn't that right? That's what I've heard. Like
That's
it was,
only
it was kind of supposed to be the Pacific Theater, but in space, and
in some semblance of a way, yeah. I figure it's always been a mix of both that and European front, really, because the more you look at it, like most of the armored battles was really happening in the European front and in Africa. It was rare that you saw it in the Pacific front because it was island hopping.
If you look at it at the macro scale, when you're talking about jump ships going from place to place, it definitely has that island hopping feel. But the thing is, what you have to understand about Battletech versus a lot of the other IPs is that there's years and years and years of novels, source books, and magazine articles, so much background that just about any type of operational theater you can think of in history can be emulated, or probably has been already emulated in some way or another within.
that's a fair point. I was talking to, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Riley Centrella that said there is probably more Battletech history than there is real life history.
That could be argued. I mean, it is huge. I mean, the volumes of lore that you can read on that is ridiculous.
I have cases of paperback books, that I've read on Battletech, and I stopped reading the novels in about 2007, 2008. So there's so many books and books and books of Battletech history. It's amazing.
And kind of what I think it was Jim that was saying just a second ago is you can create these historical battles that have happened. It's one of my favorite things. Patrick will tell you, the last time I was up in SoCal, that was what I was trying to do. We were trying to recreate the Tukayyid fight where Jeremiah Rose lost his shootist.
Yes.
And I actually was able to get that done. So, all right. We dispossessed the guy, but no, Clan Wolf did not win that fight. And I was kind of hoping to change a little bit of history there. So it was kind of cool, but I always like it when I have the opportunity to do something like that because I can say, now let me change the outcome. I want to see if I can change the outcome. That's like my biggest thing. Can I do the impossible? Do the opposite of what I
the ultimate what if?
The ultimate what if.
It's one of those what if scenarios where you've seen it written in the story, but what if you can do better?
What if you can do better?
Something I want to get your guys' perspective on, and it was just based on what you were just saying. wargaming in general, tabletop, is a very social experience. It's a very kind of human experience. And one of the reasons I really love it, I tend to shy away from video games. Most folks that watch the channel know I don't really mess with that. I tend to stick to tabletop because I love the being in person with people. I love watching them laugh when something crazy happens, that kind of thing. And it's also kind of the social contract where, you know, on the internet, if you're playing some game, you can't kick somebody off your game if they're being a jerk. But in real life, you could say, don't come back to this table. What is it you guys like about tabletop miniature wargaming in general? And what do you think just keeps bringing you back?
I have 5 children, and my 5 children started to go to Strategicon conventions when the oldest was about 12, and we did that for a generation. And last year we were in a snow cabin up in Utah, and the fire was roaring, and it was freezing cold and snowing outside. And all of my children and my grandsons were sitting around talking about games that they had played at conventions and the people they had met and the people that they still keep in touch with. And maybe in the future, children will do that about computer games, but I don't think they're going to have the same connection. And I think that human connection is what makes gaming really something worth doing.
I concur with that.
Convention's all about. You know, it's about building communities, and that's the way we view it. Because, you know, we don't have clientele, we have a community, we have family. And you know, it's that kind of attitude that just makes people just walk into this convention, feel safe, feel secure, and know that they're amongst their own people, and know that they're gonna maybe experience something new. That tabletop gaming in general, whether you're talking about role-playing games or you're talking about miniature games, it doesn't matter. It builds connections. And in the final analysis, you know, isn't that all we're left with in general? Is those connections and those memories of good times with the people that you love. And I'm telling you right now, there's no sense of satisfaction greater than watching a whole bunch of smiling faces coming out of one of my role-playing groups, because they just had a good time playing a random game with people that I've never met before, and it fills my heart. And it's the reason why I keep doing this year after year. And I don't think that video games would provide that type of thing. So, you know, as long as I'm kicking, I'm promoting this hobby and just showing everybody what it could bring to the table and how it can enrich your life in general.
If I'm able to put a smile in somebody's face, then I know I'm doing my job correctly. If they're having fun at the event, then I'm doing my job correctly. And, you know, it all works out, because in the end, it's a sense of fulfillment, you know. And plus, for a game, in the terms of Strategicon, a gaming convention, you know, there's a sense of camaraderie in that one. And if you can get everybody to just pull together and have fun in the game, it works out.
I mean, like, one of the basic things that we do at Con with Battletech that we would do every year, back when we were just demo team there, is our friend Alan would go, here's an atlas. You have unlimited locusts. See how long it lasts.
I remember that.
You just go in waves and waves of locusts and stingers and wasps. So basically,
it's the 20-ton challenge. That's what it
is. I guess, and it was usually in the 20s.
Yeah. And that was just a fun thing, because it's sort of this meat grinder, and we'll just pick up another miniature, put it down. It's like, let's go.
It's funny you mentioned that. I don't know if you guys would be interested in watching it or not, but there's a guy here on YouTube. His name is Dream Made Productions. And he actually did a video exactly like what you're talking about, where he took the little blurb from the old 3025 technical readout that an atlas could take on a battalion of stingers, so-called, and just retire an hour later for minor repairs after annihilating this entire force. That's what they said it was capable of. And he's like, let's put this to the test, one lance at a time. And like, he just went, you know, one lance of stingers at a time on this atlas until they finally just wore it down.
Yeah, but it takes a good long time.
It did.
Actually, it's a great way to learn Battletech.
You know, one of the things that we offer at con is we call a thing called paint and take. Okay, we give you a free miniature, and I have people who teach you how to paint it. I mean, it's the basics, but it's the start of the hobby portion, which we all like to do at home. And I had a girl, she was 12, 13 maybe. She showed up to a con with her family, wasn't interested in a lot of it, and showed up, did paint and take, really liked it. I think she won the kids. We have like if you just do paint and take, you can enter the kids category, and I think she won. And then we have the long break because we have a con every 3 months, and we've got like a 6-month break for the holidays and stuff. She came back 6 months later, and she's a fantastic painter. Yeah. Like her parents went all in on getting her the stuff that to paint miniatures that she had learned 5 feet from my headquarters, and now she's like entering the adult categories and blowing people out of the water.
Well, that's the thing, is that there's so many layers to these hobbies, right? Even if you're playing D&D, you might get into painting miniatures because it uses miniatures. And I think that the hobbies that are really worthwhile and the ones that really stick and last are the ones that have a lot of layers or are difficult or complex, but are easy to get into. And that's what I think that's wonderful about miniatures painting in general, because it's easy to get into. To learn the basics that you need to make something table worthy and look decent doesn't take long. But when you really look at it and you really like it, you could spend your entire life honing technique in that hobby. And if you really love it, it's a meditation for me. I adore it.
Having a hobby that involves producing something physical connects you to the gameplay way differently than it does if it's something that you bought in a store. And you wind up getting attached to the miniatures, and you don't waste them in combat because they mean something to you, and it's pretty cool.
So Patrick, a little bit ago you were talking about sponsorships, and I wanted to give you a little bit of space to talk about that.
Oh yeah, the event is sponsored by a great many people. I'd like to give special thanks to Ares Games and Miniatures. Thank you, Derek King. Fortress Games Miniatures. Thank you, Robert Ash. The Scrapyard Orc, Myth Kitty Minis, and what was the last one? It was Space Cat Studio, Space Cat Game Studio for giving us a bunch of stuff for our upcoming event. Also, special thanks to Mike Revere Crow for doing the terrain for the upcoming battle, and of course to Jim here who's gonna be putting out some miniatures out there for us to use. And the other one I'm gonna thank is I'd like to thank Odyssey Games in Pasadena for letting us use them as our testing ground for the event, to be honest. And you too, Tukayyid.
Well, hey, I do what I can. I'm just like Tex likes to say, I'm just a guy. I'm just a chorus in the crowd. But
you're talking about like Tex from Tex Talks Battletech?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it's funny because I don't have a super deep knowledge of the world of BattleTech. I just know the game. But I got to say that those Tex Talks Battletech stuff, they're fantastic.
Absolutely. Like, I'll tell anybody within earshot, they are the best fan-made content BattleTech videos that are available on YouTube right now.
It's helped me because one thing you're talking about, like the history of BattleTech, like, so I mean, I listen to the American Civil War on a somewhat regular basis just because it's a great thing, and I didn't realize that there's literally 400 years of history in BattleTech. Like, there's that much. That just never really dawned on me. Because usually what happens, like I've got like Jim and my buddy Mitch, they're like super deep into all the BattleTech world, so I didn't need to know anything. It's like here's the stuff, cool, and we play. Mitch was always our GM when we played Mech Warrior, that kind of stuff. So I didn't need to know all that information, but yeah, I can't recommend that channel high enough because it's badass. It's awesome. I love it. And that's the thing is his listening to his talk about the Battle of Tukayyid is why I'm like, when Patrick's like, we want to do Tukayyid at con, I'm like, yeah, the answer is yes. Just when you want it, how much do you need? The answer is yes. I want to see at least a piece of that.
So Tex should actually get a credit as well.
Yeah, thank you much for Tex.
If you're interested in OrcCon, strategicon.net is our website. It has a list of all of our events and an ability for you to register if you'd like to. So there you go.
But anyway, gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate you. I am looking highly forward to meeting all of you in person at Strategicon. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
And people, if you want to know how famous I am, I'm in this book.
GMSI, Daddy!
My name was in a book in 1987, sir.
Okay, you got me beat, but you know, I work hard to see my name in this book. Thank you, Blately Pardo.
Right? All right, gentlemen, y'all take care of yourselves.
Take care.
Thank you. See you in 3 weeks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Crowdfunding is when lots of people give you small amounts of money to help your passion project come to life.